Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek Chen and topic for today's video is how we can find out or identify the vulnerabilities in our own images and how we can remove them, right? We know that we are living in a world where, we are actually just containerize each and every application. We have bunch of images, right? And whenever we build the images, we rely on a lot of third-party open source tools for the base images, right? What if those base images and the open source libraries and packages are some kind of vulnerabilities? How we can identify them, in our own images, which is dependent upon them, and then how we can address them. And that's where, the Docker provided tool, which is known as Docker Scout, seems to be very handy, and it seems to be very easy to use, and it really helped me to not only identify the vulnerabilities in my images, but easily I can address all those critical and high vulnerabilities by just making few changes which Docker Scout is recommending me to. Right, so let's get into the demo part and see from the very basic how we can use a Docker Scout to identify the vulnerability and address all those vulnerabilities. So what I have done here is, for today's demo, I have just this simple Docker file, which actually just build the image for the Flask based application. You can use your any image, whatever Docker files you have, you can use to follow on this video, follow along with this video, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going back to my command line, and by using this Docker file, I'm going to build the image, right? Okay, so let me here, step on build, and then I say place file tag. I'm gonna say Flask web server, and from the version I can start with 2.2.1. Okay, so now when it is just building, now you can see here, once the image gets created, right, it is showing what next to be done. Because we have a Docker Scout, we can quickly verify on our Docker desktop, that whether this image got created or not. See, this just got created, right? So now what we have to do, we have to simply run this Docker Scout quick view, right? But what we're gonna do is we're gonna feed in our image, which we just built with Flask web server. Now you can see the second message, which says that, ASBOM is nothing but it's software bill of materials. It's just like, collecting all the layers, all the base images, all the software open source packages directly, which you have in your application. It's actually try to scan each and everything, right? And now if you just see the report, which this script says to us, see how many vulnerabilities we have. We have 1 critical, 9 high, 6 medium, and 116 low, right? In a base image where we use Python 3, 1 critical, 9 high, 6 medium, 116 low, right? So we have a lot of, vulnerabilities, right? And if you just go back to your Docker desktop, I forgot to mention that you have to install a Docker desktop. And if I just go back to the images, and if I just click on this image, here we can see the image hierarchy. We can see all the layers which we have, right, within our image. See, right? Here you can see inside your images, which layer, which package has what kind of vulnerability. So for example, Debian Git, which has 1 critical, 2 high, and there is nothing else, right? Debian pip, we have 1 high. Likewise, you can just see all the vulnerabilities, right? You can see how many packages we have. We have 589 packages. How many images we are depending upon, see. So basically, this Docker Scout is actually doing all those things behind the scene for us, and we can utilize them, right? Now coming back to the command. So we ran Docker Scout quick view, which actually gives us, how many critical, how many medium, low vulnerabilities we have, right? So I just reran this command. If you just see here what next section, it says that view vulnerability. So now we have another command which says that so this time we have to use CVPs. It's going us to give the same information, but in more detail, the way we have seen on a Docker desktop, right? So here you can see how many lows you have, how many mediums. So here you can see one critical, 9 high, 6 medium, and 116 low. Here, if you just see, that's the reason I just love this, because it keeps saying, I mean, what next? So now you have to just run this Docker Scout recommendation command on the image, right? So let's just do screen this command. So first we run the quick view, which actually give us the summary. Then we run the C with the command CVS, which provides a detail of all those vulnerabilities. And now we're gonna use this recommendations option. See, now it is telling us, what we can do to address them. So if we read through from here, it's provide a lot of information, recommended fixes, right? We use base image Python 3, name, blah, blah, blah. We can see all those info here. And then we can see refresh base image, rebuild the image using a newer base image version. Updating this may result in breaking changes. We should not be able to change base image. It says that these are the options which you can try and see if this is actually going to help us a lot, right? Here you can see what all other thing you will get it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try with this one. So just coming back to my Docker file rather than this one. Say Slim. Slim. Saving it here. Build command here, and this time we're going to say 5.2. But this time, as a base image, I just took Python 3.12.3 Slim, right? Let's see. Coming back to the Docker desktop, images, in web server, this is my open2. Let's click on this. Now we are left with only 100 and now we are left with only 30 vulnerabilities, right? If I just go back previously, the version 0.0.1 for Flask web server, see 132, right? Now, see, we haven't done anything. Docker Scout is actually helping us to just not only identify the vulnerabilities, it is providing us the recommendation with those commands, and we can apply them, and we can see, whether we reach to the situation where we don't have any critical or high, right? So if I just click on here, it's 132, I think I just click on the same version. We need 0.2 here. So now we are left with 30. We have only one high, right? And if I just go back to the command line to CLS, if I just run CDs first. I'm not running the KQueue because we know it's just going to provide the summary. And here we can see 29 low, and we are having only one high, right? Earlier we were having a 9 high, 1 critical, a lot of medium, and we are able to reduce to, from 132 vulnerabilities to 30 by just making a one change, one recommendation with Docker Scout option just provided to us, right? So let's try to run the recommendation further and see if we can remove that high as well. Let's see. Who knows, right? Now it says that can we use 3.12.3 Alpine? Tag is preferred, but it is still having a one high. Can we try with that and see what happens? Let's try with Alpine rather than Slim and see. Okay, Alpine. Let's just bring it. So I'm just going to make 3, because this time we started with Python as a base image, then we use a slim version, and now we are using the Alpine version, right? So if we can run CVEs here for version 3, and you can see we get. Okay, so now we are left with only one high. We are able to address all the 29 low, so we are only left with one high, right? So if I just come back here in a Docker desktop and see the version 3 for Flask web server, which is at the top. So now we are only left with pip 24.0, right? So that's the only one which we are left with, right? So what we can do to handle that, probably, this is something, we can figure out, because just related to the Python. Okay, so it seems like now we are only left with pip 24.0. So all we need is we need to just upgrade the pip version, and then we should be able to remove all the vulnerabilities from our own image, right? See how easy it is to use a Docker Scout, right? So I would recommend, whether you are a professional or the experience or you are the beginner, but if you have a dependency on the containerized application, which I assume that most of us are actually using the containerized application almost on a daily basis. So I would say start using this Docker Scout option. Try to see if you can, during the development phase itself, if you can just figure out all the vulnerabilities and address them before someone else comes out to you and say, okay, your image is having this kind of vulnerabilities, right? Believe me, it's very, very important for each and everybody to understand. It should not be like, okay, my IT team or my SecOps team is going to do that. No, it's the prime responsibility should be lie with the developers who is actually building all those images, because it's their major or the primary responsibility to not only build the effective application, but we have to make sure as a software developer that we are not introducing any kind of vulnerabilities which can provide unauthorized person to exploit our system. Because even if we have a single application which is having a vulnerability which can be exploited by the unauthorized person, then he can take over the entire infrastructure in the entire system, right? So just make sure you will be using this Docker Scout, and there are a lot of other tools as well which you would like to explore it, right? But Docker Scout, and I have, if you are beginner in the software development field, and if your primary language is the Python, I have other videos as well where I used Bandit and Safety, which actually also does the same thing, which is also very user friendly. But those two libraries are more focused towards just verifying the Python based code. So Bandit is just like, just to find the vulnerabilities in your code, whereas the Safety is actually find out the vulnerabilities on your dependencies or the library which you have, right? So likewise, you also try to search with new tools, and the new tools and the new framework through which we can identify the vulnerabilities. And I would love to see what kind of tools and the framework you are using. Put that to the description section, and probably we can discuss about those new tools. And if requires, then probably I can come up with some more videos by, on some other, effective or easy to use tool to find out the vulnerability and address them. So thanks for watching this. And as always, stay healthy, keep learning.